Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your October 1st to the 15th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aquarius. October 1st to the 15th, 2021, Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Ooh, okay, these three. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At our root, we have the Hanged Man, so we see things differently than everybody else. And Aquarius, that's actually par for the course with us. Then we have the Devil, which is Capricorn energy coming into play. But there's also a lot of facing of darkness and hurts and pains. And it leads us to the Hierophant, staying true to who we are and maybe even finding that space again, that authenticity, that power, that insight. Then we have our inner self. We have the Eight of Earth, which is the Eight of Pentacles, our hard work paying off. And then we have the Eight of Fire, the Eight of Wands. Things move really quickly. The repeat of the number 8, Aquarius, we're going to tend to take things very seriously. We're going to be very serious, very much on point. You know, we expect everybody else to be just as serious as we are. So that's going to be something that we have to be just a little bit mindful of, just to let ourselves have this bit of expression, this bit of whimsy that's going to be so important to us during this time. Then we have in our hearts, we have the Four of Wands, the Minor Arcana Marriage card. Actually, we have the Major Arcana Marriage card here, too, with the Hierophant. So there is a commitment coming forward. Now, it can be within a relationship, but it can also be to ourselves. It can also be in our work, the way that we're moving forward, what we love, what we want in life. It's saying, what are we committed to? And why are we committed to it? Then we have the King of Fire, the King of Wands, Fire Sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And this is going to be a time where we see transformation around passion, around what we desire. The Ace of Swords, God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, handing you a gift, Aquarius, just for you, cutting through doubts, fears, negativities, hurts, and pains. So that's going to be a really big thing for the heart and a really big deal for the heart to be able to alleviate a lot of toxicity. It moves us then to the Six of Pentacles, gifts start to come into play, yes, but we start to see a balancing of what we need and what we want. We start to see a balancing of what everybody expects from us and what we expect from ourselves. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. If we have Earth sign energy within our chart, okay, especially here we have Taurus and Capricorn coming out very strongly within our root. These are going to come out very strongly in our root itself and in the public arena. We're going to find that we defend this area of our being, a little bit more fervently than we have before. Same with fire sign energy. If we have fire sign energy within our natal chart, that's coming out very powerfully at our heart. And again, that's Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So let's see what energy we have to be mindful of during this time. What is the energy that Aquarius needs to be mindful of? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. We have the Knight of Swords, okay? The Prince of Swords. This is going to be very much a time where we can kind of get in our own way. As air sign energy, we can have a tendency to overthink, which astrologically really falls into the 1st of October with Mercury being squared Pluto. And we're going to go into the astrological aspect of this time, much more in depth in just a moment. But here we're going to have a tendency, and we have to be mindful of running off without all the information, without everything that we really need, and just thinking, action is better than inaction. Motion is better than just staying still. I have to go after. And we're going to find ourselves also very drawn to people who just go after. And what Spirit is going to say at this time is embrace a sense of understanding our boundaries, understanding what we need and understanding what we want, and understanding the ferocity that's guiding us. Because during this time, we can get in our own way just through the sheer act of wanting things to have action to them, wanting things to have movement and motion, and being able to move forward. So that's going to be very important for us during this time to think things through and to not get caught up in other people's energy of simply action. And then we have our chakra energy, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. And this is self-mastery. This is the Earth Star chakra. No, it's not. It's the solar plexus chakra. And this is going to be a time where we really need to embrace our gut, our sense of alignment with ourselves, being very mindful of the energy that we put into ourselves through food, through exercise, through just being outside in the sun. There's going to be this need of being grounded. Now, this could be through barefoot shoes. This could be through walking barefoot. There's going to be a need to embrace our connection and embrace our alignment. And as we do so, we start to master ourselves, not meaning that we start to tell ourselves what to do, but we start to see the beauty and the intricacy of ourselves more and more. And instead of thinking, I'm just not there yet, I'm not where I want to be, or I'm not where I meant to be, and life is such a struggle, all these things might be true. We might have loftier plans for our lives than what we're acting out right now or what we're able to embrace right now. But there's a sense here of being in alignment with who we are and this stage of our journey, which, believe me, I understand when we're not where we want to be, where life is hard and challenging and we don't know what else we could do to make it better. Being in alignment with ourselves, being in alignment with the energy of our world when the energy is frustrating, and can seem so counterintuitive. We're going to want to kind of fight against it instead of saying, I am enough in this moment. There is nothing lacking within me. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am grounded within myself, and I am moving myself forward. There's going to be so many times during this time in our life where we need to really embrace who we are, not necessarily who we want to be or how we want to be or how we want everybody to perceive us. And that's going to be a game changer during this time. Now, let's start off with the astrology. On the 1st of October, Mercury is going to be squared Pluto. And this kind of sets the tone for this whole entire first half of the month for us, and especially with the 8 of fire in our inner self. So with Mercury squared Pluto, we have to remember that we're going to have a tendency to go too deeply into things. We're going to have a tendency to want to obtain too much too quickly, and also just to fall down that rabbit hole, to think, well, if I know a little bit, that's good, but if I know a lot, that's better. So what we have to realize is that, yes, this could be great for research if we have something that we need to research, if we're doing a video, or if we're, writing a paper, or, even writing a book, or even, looking up the history behind an artist or a, engineer that we're getting inspiration from. That could be a really good thing. But we can always tend to just take it a little bit too far during this time. It could also be great for work, because we're going to be very detail oriented. But again, we can take it too far, and we have to be mindful of that, because we can become lost down that rabbit hole. Things can just become so intense, and we have a tendency with the repeat of the number 8 within our inner self to really embrace the intensity, really think like, wow, this is good. And it can be good in the very beginning. That intensity can be awesome, but then we're going to find that it can be a little hurtful, a little harmful, because it's going to be all that we focus on. On the 2nd of October, Venus is going to be sextile Pluto. Now we become very passionate about everything we are passionate about, we are determined about, we are focusing on. We feel deeply about so much on this day that we kind of need to be kinder to ourselves and need to step back. And we also need to realize, especially on the 2nd of October, and the way this opens our hearts up, that just because we feel really deeply about something and just because we're super passionate about something doesn't mean that the people that we share it with are going to be as passionate as we are, or are going to find the subject that we're totally enthralled in as enthralling as we do. So kind of stepping back and understanding that everybody's going to have their thing, especially on this day, that just absolutely fascinates them. Absolutely, they want to dive deeper and deeper and deeper into it. We kind of have to step back and say, okay, you know what, that can be your thing, this is going to be my thing, and let each other move forward in harmony, in a respectful harmony, because everybody just wants their voice to be heard during this time. On the 3rd of October, Mercury is going to be trine Jupiter. This brings a wider point of view and a really fun outlook. So on the 3rd of October, there's a sense of fun here. There's a sense of like, I can accomplish anything. I can see things from multiple different, points of view. I'm opened up to the world around me and to the inspiration that world brings. And it's great energy for planning for our future, and also how to get things to run smoothly, how to get things to really fall into that harmony that we've been seeking. On the 6th of October, we have the new moon in Libra, which there will be a separate video about. This always brings new beginnings forward. But we also have Pluto going direct. Now, what makes this important is that this can be an astoundingly intense time for those of us who are astrologically sensitive or just sensitive beings. So this can last for, the impact of this can last for a couple of days. It can last for a couple of weeks. So do be mindful. Pluto coming out of retrograde has us leaving behind this fear of letting go, this fear of not being in control. We had this controlling, determined energy. It's like, I just have to hold on, because if I can just make it right, then it will just be perfect. Then I'll just have everything falling into alignment. And we have to be mindful about taking that energy forward, because with Pluto going direct, we find that we have strong feelings of ambition and focus and this need for empowerment, but it's not through control. It's like, okay, how do I step into this world, and how do I embrace the aspect and the beauty and the complexity of myself? Now, this comes out more on the 10th of October, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But we're going to see here that we start to embrace change. We start to embrace different ways of thinking, and we start to embrace the idea of new adventures really opening themselves to us. On the 7th of October, Venus moves into Sagittarius energy, which brings us a live and let live energy, which brings us this kind of yeah, you do you and I'll do me. But we also have this sense of, don't you dare tell me what to do. So on the 7th of October, if we can just kind of take the day off, if we can, say this is a me time, a self-care time, even if we could just take a few hours to be by ourselves, or even a half an hour, if that's all we can get, take it, please. To be able to just say, I'm channeling me, I'm embracing me, I'm looking at what I need, what I want, and I'm embracing the change that I'm longing for. Because there's going to be something here where, even if it's just something seemingly as benign as saying, we do something, I'm going to use what I love to do as an example, like I'm going to change up my skincare routine. I'm going to do something frivolous and just buy myself some interesting new things to try out, because at the end of the day, that's what I love to do. I love to pamper myself just a bit. And so if you find that is something that resonates with you, or thinking, oh wow, I'd really love to do that, this is the time to do it. This is the time on the 7th of October to say, you know what, I'm just taking a little bit of me time. And it's not selfish, it's not bad, it's not hurtful or harmful to anyone or anything. It is embracing you. And that's kind of what we need to do. And actually, I would find that we need to be a little bit more selfish in our world. Now, I know that doesn't actually sound like something that you would expect me to say, or something that, would promote harmony. But if we're taking care of ourselves, if we're remembering that we matter, if we're not, sacrificing ourselves time and time again for everybody else, and, expecting them to see it, but they're not. That's another thing with this energy that comes forward. We can tend to be, especially on the 13th of October, we can tend to be very sacrificing for other people. And yet we're going to think, well, do they even see it? You're like, do they even understand? So on the 8th of October, not jumping ahead of ourselves all the way to the 13th, on the 8th of October, the sun is conjunct Mars. And this brings a hero energy to us. This brings a sense of I can accomplish and do anything. I can really open up my world and myself to what I need and what I desire. We can also have a bit of a hot temper. So do be mindful about this, because everybody's going to be a superhero, but everybody can get annoyed that others aren't seeing their hero-ness as well. On the 9th of October, Venus meets with the moon in Scorpio. So this opens up our third eye chakra, bringing us this intense awareness and insight into our lives, into our world, into what we want. This is known as the gate of creativity. If there's something that we want to start, doing it on this time, this time of greater insight, this time of greater complexity, this time of greater ideas, that's going to be so beneficial to us. It moves us to the Mercury conjunct Mars energy that is also on the 9th of October. We are quick-minded, we are quick-witted, we are, our reflexes are quick, so this is a great day to do yoga if we want to, or even start doing yoga if you haven't. We're going to also find, though, that our tongue is going to be sharp. So we have to center ourselves. We have to center ourselves in our energy, in our desires, in what we want, and what we need, in who we are. We are also going to be more direct and not want to sugarcoat anything. Now, this is going to be everybody. Remember, this is astrologically, so this is affecting everyone. So everyone has their third eye chakra opening. Everybody has this gate of creativity opening to them, this complexity, this creative, aspect. And then we have the Mercury conjunct Mars, which Mercury has to do always with us speaking and communicating and, sharing our wit with people. But with Mars is the warrior. And so we're going to be much more direct, much more, to the point. And we're going to think, oh, well, I'm helping that person because, yes, I'm caring and nurturing for them, because my third eye is open and I'm connecting in a spiritual way. But through the way of Mars, it's like I'm giving them that kick in the tush that they need. And yet everybody's thinking, I'm giving you the kick in the tush that we need. So we have to just be a little bit kinder, a little bit more sensitive. Sometimes holding our tongue on the 9th of October, and even after the 9th of October, or even before, if we're sensitive, can be the best way to go. It's like I don't have to step on every crack, and I'm not going to waste my energy that way. On the 10th of October, there we go, Saturn becomes direct. We become more focused on our responsibilities and getting the job done. But we also are really down to earth, and we're really aware of our limitations. We're aware of what we want and what we desire and where we're headed and why we're headed there. But we're also aware of where we excel and where we don't excel, where we have limitations and where we have blessings. And so this is going to be a time where we find ourselves balancing ourselves, not in a negative way. Being aware of our limitations can sound negative. It's not. There's going to be a great sense of I'm aware of me and I'm stepping into the power and the long-term goals and the clarity of purpose and practicality of me to get to where I want to be. So it's very much saying here, embrace your strengths. Embrace your strengths and surround yourself with people who maybe can pick up the ball where our strengths have fallen, but can always, fall into alignment with us. On the 13th of October, Venus is sextile Saturn. And this is a time for being around family and friends and really embracing what we love. But this is also a time where we can be very sacrificing. We can really sit there and say, you know what, I love you, I care for you, I want to see you grow and nourish, I'm going to sacrifice for you. And if we sacrifice for other people without being realized, without there being a thank you, there is going to be this sense of, what the heck did I do this for? Now, we can sacrifice for relationships, for personal relationships that we have. We can also sacrifice for work and for anything else that we think is important. If there's not respect behind that, we're going to feel really taken advantage of. And so we have to be mindful of that. On the 15th of October, which is where the timeline of this reading ends, and it ends on such a beautifully high note. We have the Sun trine Jupiter, which makes us lucky, generous, happy, and larger than life. We bring this intense spiritual awareness and this love of knowledge and sharing of knowledge and communication to ourselves and to the world and to what we desire. We can be a little bit too generous during this time and a little bit too self-indulgent, so do be mindful of that. But we tend to see things so differently than we have seen things before. And there's going to be this sense with the Hangman of, am I wrong? Am I wrong to see it this way? Am I wrong to be embracing this form of what I desire or these insights, these ideas? What am I being drawn to? And am I being drawn to it because it is accelerating me? Or am I being drawn to it because it is, what everybody else is drawn to? And so this is going to be a time where we start to see things differently. We start to see our own energy differently. We start to see what we desire to be different. And it can lead us to the sense of like, what is holding me back? What have I been addicted to? What have I, been drawn to that is lowering my energy vibrations? The devil can start off with addictions, which we can have addictions of, food and alcohol. Yes, of course. Or, drugs and alcohol, but food can also go in there. But Spirit is also showing the, when we're addicted to something and we have, you become an alcoholic or a drug addict, or, you, even if it's like addicted to food, to become obese, people tend to point out our flaws that are easily visible. Should they? I mean, if we're hurting ourselves, maybe, but should they do it kindly? Yes, of course. And this is going to be a time where we're going to find that whether our addictions, okay, our coping mechanisms that usually we learned when we were very small, that we tried to kind of somehow control the world that we were in and had them develop because we were trying to control the world that we were in and we couldn't. They start to come forward. And sometimes these addictions are the addictions that aren't praised, that we saw before, with drugs and alcohol, and even eating to excess or bad food choices. But what if they get you praised? What if it becomes that you're a calorie counter to the point that you eat so clean that everybody else is just in marvel, like, oh my gosh, I couldn't possibly do that, or oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't take a piece of chocolate. I ate 3. Like you do so well, like, and we praise the person for it. We praise the person for being a gym rat. We praise the person for going to these quote unquote healthy extremes that aren't healthy for them. And so this is going to be a time, or being super organized. Oh my gosh, you have everything super organized. That's so great. What they don't see is that it takes you 3 hours every night to be able to go to sleep, because this is something that has to be done first. We have to step back and we have to step into ourselves and say, what is it that I am doing that is putting me in alignment with what I love and what I want and where I need to be in my life? And what is it that isn't? And sometimes this is real talk, but this is hard talk. Because it's like, what am I avoiding? How am I self-sabotaging? What is it that I'm doing that isn't in alignment with me? And as we start to see things differently, we can start to see ourselves differently. And then we can start to say, wow, I'm really drawn to this. Why is it? I really want to open the door this way in my life, but what am I scared about? And as we look at that with the devil energy, the energy of addiction and doubt and fear and chaos, as we call ourselves out, we start to become more grounded on this earth. We start to become more grounded within ourselves, because we are not beings to be abhorred. We're not beings to be hated. We're beings to be loved. And so the first person who needs to love us, who needs to understand us, is ourselves. And it moves us to the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the major arcana marriage card. It is the sense of commitment. What in our lives have we given a commitment to that we cannot turn our backs on? What is it that is just an intrinsic part of us that if we turned away from it, we wouldn't be as truly us as we are now? And so the Hierophant comes into play. And the Hierophant says, these are your traditions. This is what you desire. This is who you are. This is what you need. And as we embrace this aspect of ourselves, we start to embrace our truth. We start to embrace the rituals we needed within our lives to have us grounded, to have us successful, to have us opening up the doors. And it leads us to the 8 of Earth. In our inner self, it's like, this is what I've worked for. This is what I've sacrificed for. This is what I want. The 8 of Pentacles is the hard work, the dedication, the craftsmanship, the 10,000 hours to become a master at something, to become an expert at something. And we're going to see here the ways that our lives have been tested, what we've been called to be, kind of this master at, this brilliant person at, whatever. Even if we didn't think, oh, wow, that's where I'm going to focus my time and attention. That's my true calling. So we're going to see here how life has kind of thrown us curveballs along the way that start to open doors, that start to open ideas for us, that start to open us and lead us forward. It brings us to the 8 of Fire, the 8 of Wands. All of a sudden, things start happening quickly in our inner self. Now, because we have the repeat of the number 8, we can tend to take things too seriously. We can tend to be a little bit too harsh on ourselves, a little bit too intense. And that's going to be something we need to be mindful of during this time. That we can really look at things and say, well, it just has to be perfect, and make it that way, Aquarius. And what we're going to find is that if we do that to ourselves, if we put that pressure upon our shoulders, we feel as if we're never going to get to where we need to be. We're going to feel as if it's always going to be an uphill battle. If we let ourselves be kind of swept away with the chaotic beauty of the Eight of Wands, with this beautiful transformation, then we start to fall in love. We start to find this connection and this creation to what we love, what we desire, what we need, what we want within our lives. We start to find happiness. And happiness doesn't have to be every moment of every day. Happiness can be in fleeting moments. Happiness can be in times that just take you by surprise. And so with the Four of Wands, we start to learn how to celebrate. And we start to have that commitment again come forward. We have the minor arcana, the major arcana marriage card. We have the minor arcana marriage card. This sense of, this is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I desire within my life. This is what I'm celebrating. This is the next stage in my journey. So often we think, okay, we have to meet these certain goals and live this certain way by this age, by that age. And what Spirit is saying here is let yourself explore. Let yourself celebrate where you are now. And that celebration and that love for where we stand now starts to open up the door to what we can embrace later on in life, what we can embrace as we embrace ourselves. And it leads us to the King of Wands. It leads us to this passion, to this fire, to this determination, but also to this transformation. Our hearts are aligned here with fire and air. So the air can feed the fire, most definitely, as we are an air sign energy. We tend to feed our passion. We tend to want to absolutely embrace and move forward and be inspired. With the King of Wands, we are looking at this passionate creation. We are looking at the sense of transformation. And as we look at this transformation, as we find this aspect of ourselves, we start to embrace new desires and new insights and new understandings of who we are, of where we want to be, and of what we desire. We're going to say, during this time, it's like, why not instead of why? Now, we're also going to really want a really good answer as to why here, Aquarius. We're going to want things to be kind of laid out, spelled out. We would like lists. We would like things to be fact checked 500,000 times. There's this little bit of this Capricorn energy really coming forward and saying, I just need everything to be right. I just need it to be just so. And then I can move forward in assurance. Life doesn't come with assurances. Life is going to come with passion and intensity and questions and insight and ideas and, desires. And we're going to find that we need to embrace them. We need to embrace ourselves. We need to look at what we want and what we're afraid of and where we want to be and how we want that door to open and what we want to embrace within our lives. It leads us to the Ace of Swords. God, Source, Spirit, again, however you see the divine, the universe, is cutting through a lot of doubt and fears with us. Is having us look at our heart and our mind as not separate entities, but as two halves of a whole. Two beautiful, powerful insights and understandings that open up our world, open up ourselves, guide us forward, lead us to a place that is more intense and brilliant than we had known. And so with the Ace of Swords, we start to embrace our voice, the power of our voice, the power of our insight, the power of our questions, the power of our mind. We start to look at things with honesty and integrity and power. And as we do, we ask questions. As we do, we push further forward. But also, we start to realize the power of where we stand and why we stand here, the power of who we are and who we are becoming. It moves us to the Six of Pentacles. We're going to want things to be fair, okay? In the public arena, during this time, we want things to be fair and just. We're focused on money, yes, because the Pentacles have come up here in the two cards that are here. Now, it says the Six of Pentacles is a gift, and it is. It's a gift of insight, of balance. It is a gift of minor arcana Libra energy. And so as we look at this gift, as we look at what we want and what we desire and who we are, we say, this is what needs to be balanced. This is where I'm giving so much of my attention to. This is where so much of my attention is being pulled, even though I don't want to give it there. This is what is needed. This is what is wanted. These are the demands being made on me. How do I balance it? And it leads us then to the Knight of Pentacles. We become a knight. We become a hero of our intentions, of our goals, of our desires, of the way that we're opening up the door, of how we're moving forward. We're not going to be moving forward as quickly as we want to be. That's going to be something that is frustrating with us during this time, Aquarius. We're not going to move forward as quickly as we want, but we are going to be moving forward with intention, insight, and determination. And that's going to make up for speed. Sometimes you don't want things to be fast. Sometimes you want things to be slowly, methodically, and brilliantly done. Our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the Lovers, Gemini energy. All right. But this is also a sense of self-indulgence. This is a sense of following what feels good in the moment or what we lust for instead of what we truly love, of what truly inspires us. So that's going to be something that we need to be mindful of. We also need to be mindful of really falling for people who are all about the lust and the instant gratification. We want something more. We want something with substance. And that's going to be important to stand our ground for. It leads us then to our subconscious chakra energy, which is inner strength. This is the solar plexus chakra again coming through, and this is a time where we start to see ourselves coming out of our shells. We start to see ourselves embracing strength and determination and focus and brilliance and ideas. We start to see ourselves claiming our voice, claiming our desire, and claiming who we are. It moves us then to our subconscious rooted energy, which is the Emperor. Now, this is Aries energy, but there's also a sense of very distinct masculine energy here at our root. This sense of power, the sense of insight, the sense of focus, the sense of sometimes being ready for a fight. It's kind of like, I will stand my ground and I will fight for what I believe in, period, end of the discussion. We're not going to be discussing this anymore. So there is the sense with the Emperor that I will stand and fight for what I believe in. But it's also a sense here of embracing our voice, embracing what we desire, of what we need, of how we want to move forward within our lives. Claiming a throne and claiming an intensity we didn't know. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me again. We didn't know we had. And so as we do this, as we claim this power within ourselves and this insight and this intention of ourselves, we start to find ourselves being more assertive, but also being more aware of who we are, of what we want, and also of what has been holding us back, what has been denying us. Then we have our subconscious inner self, which is the Craftsman of Earth. And the Craftsman of Earth is creating and cultivating our earthly desires, creating and cultivating our connection with the earth to enhance our energy vibration. Be very mindful of being drawn into lower negative energy vibrations, like watching too many murder mysteries or watching murder mysteries and true crime and horror films. We can find them fascinating, but if we're watching something more intense than a cozy mystery, we're going to want to be very mindful of the impact that it's having on us, because this is going to be a time where, again, we feel things very deeply and we fall down that rabbit hole and we're crafting our earthly, energy vibration and our earthly desires to move us forward. So we have to be mindful of this. We have to be aware of us. It moves us to our subconscious emotional self. And that's the Emperor coming through. Again, we have the Emperor coming through at our root. We now have the Emperor coming through at our heart. Again, this is Aries energy, passion, determination, focus, insights, fire, ideas. This is going to be a time where we need to claim our throne, where we need to claim our voice, where we need to be a little bit larger than life, Aquarius, and not apologize for it. Our subconscious public arena self is the Ace of Swords. We have this gift coming up now twice. A gift of clarity, insight, ideas, knowledge, a sense of owning the fact that we are represented in the tarot by a weapon, the only weapon within the tarot. So this could be seen as something maybe that we don't like, but I see it as something spectacular. It took tremendous skill to be able to wield a sword. A sword was also only wielded in medieval times by people who were of nobility. So you had to have you had to be seen as a certain level of prestige. That's why in paintings from the medieval times, you'll see uprisings and people, the peasants will be holding pitchforks and, all these different sickles and everything like that. And you would think, why don't they have like a real weapon? Because they weren't allowed to. And this is saying here that everybody can own a real weapon, the weapon of the mind, the weapon of the voice, the weapon of our insights and our ideas, to open up the doors, to move us forward, to be able to create new pathways to what we truly desire in our lives and where we truly want to be. And that is extraordinary. All right, Aquarius, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the complexity of this time. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius.